And so there's never been a time where any business of any size or any scale can create an online presence and compete. And so that's really cool and exciting, but it also creates challenges and opportunities we wouldn't have had in the past.
All right, today we have with us Chris Cline, National Agency Distribution Leader at Westfield and host of Closing the Gap podcast. Welcome, Chris.
Hey, thanks for having me, Amber. Good to see you again.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. We were just saying, I feel like you see the familiar faces and personalities in the insurance industry, and I've been seeing you around for a number of years, so it's great to finally get the chance to chat one-on-one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. You're right. I mean, it's either a really big small industry or a really small big industry. Thrilled to have been, have had the chance to get to know you here in recent months.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you're something of a science geek, so I wanted to touch on an area of innovation that we don't often talk about in insurance, the human brain. So not the artificial kind of intelligence, the actual kind. So what role does human psychology play in our piece of the insurance value chain? And I guess what role should it play?
Yeah, that's a great question too, and we could spend hours upon hours on that. And for somebody who professes to be a science geek, I am also very much a science novice. But I've been fascinated for years around the brain and the way the brain works, and really through a couple of lenses, and one of which is just the pure science of it all. I mean, it's a fascinating thing to think that not only are we living, but we have this thing called a conscience, and we can think and we can solve problems. When I think more about it in the business setting, human psychology, the understanding of the way the brain works, these predisposed biases that we all have, help with individual development as employees, whether it's being a member of your team, being a member of your family. Bias is a word that we spend a lot of time on there. And when you start to understand that we all have bias about certain things, some of it can be extreme, some of it can simply be proximity, but it covers the gamut. And so there's a really powerful way in the study of the human brain and the way it works and how to become aware of the way your brain is reacting and influencing your behaviors is a really powerful way to better your organization and really to be a better person.
I think one of the most powerful things you can do is take your unconscious bias and make it conscious. I
Yeah.
often thought about that during my time in underwriting is just, okay, so why am I making this decision? What factors are playing into it? And there's such power in that, in acknowledging those things in your brain that are often hidden and taken for granted. And then you really take the control back of your brain when you understand a little bit more why it does what it does. And to switch gears, there's been a lot of talk about the M&A space taking off in recent months. So what do you think we'll see as we get deeper into 2021?
Oh gosh, another fascinating question. And so in my role at Westfield, I guess really leading the team that manages agency lifecycle. Every M&A deal that impacts one of our agencies flows through our, my part of the organization. And for a minute there last year, it seemed like, well, there definitely was a halt or a slowdown to that. I think as people figured out what the pandemic might do, how long it was going to last, and what influences it would have on the economy. And quite honestly, people were just distracted and trying to solve for different things. But as Q4 we made our way through Q4, we saw very rapid rebounds, probably the wrong word, but activity spiked back again. And I believe we'll end 2020 not too far off of the prior couple years, but even in front of 18 and prior years in announced deals. So I believe we'll continue to see more of the same. And for a couple different fronts. I mean, as we think about the continual evolution and maybe even faster than evolution dynamics that are driving customer behaviors and the expectations they have of our industry, some agencies will maybe make the decision sooner than they would have in the past, that they don't have the, maybe the energy or the resources to reinvent and pivot that hard, and will choose to sell a little bit sooner. But clearly the financials of our industry are phenomenal. And there's a reason why private equity has found us and continues to thrive, and why regional agencies are buying each other. And unless there's something really radical that influences the ability of the independent agency to generate the returns that it does, I see no slowdown in M&A activity at all.
Yeah, I think sometimes if we forget how lucrative our industry is overall, if you look at, adjacent spaces, it's certainly one that attracts and continues to attract a lot of attention.
Well, it's true, right? I mean, you could cite any statistics you want, but I mean, even in the middle of the bell curve, a typical agency can generate 10, 15 or more points of return. And those that are really managing that hard will see double that or more. And, I don't know where you can put your dollar relatively safely and generate double digits returns year over year over year over year. So it makes sense why people are investing in this business, and whether it's at the agency level or third party enablers like your company, who view it as there's all this opportunity here, but yet there's even more opportunity to do things more efficiently and more effectively. And so let's go work on all this stuff together.
Yeah, absolutely. How can we make a good thing even better, essentially? And while we're looking ahead, do you think we'll continue to see rapid evolution in the realm of customer experience? Is this the year we all truly embrace digital?
I can't speak for everyone, but I know that we are at Westfield very focused on digital, the consumer experience, and the agency experience along the way, because that's just the way the value proposition works. And certainly as behaviors change, expectations change, tools become more readily available. I think we're in the golden age right now, and what this place looks like in a year or two is going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, that's a great point too, that it's not just the end customer, the insured. All of our expectations are changing. The expectations of agencies are changing. My own expectations from my experience as a consumer in adjacent spaces, impacts how I see, each of our businesses. So I think it's something to keep in mind too, is that it's not just the end consumer, right? It's really everyone in the space.
Yeah, I mean, because everybody, even though we just talked about how financially sound our industry is and the financial opportunities are there are always pressures on expenses, and investing in tools and capabilities to make the ultimate customer experience better they're not free and they're not cheap. And even if you take the financial portion of it, the human resource and the change management that comes in to evolving a company as old and as steeped in tradition as ours and is, shouldn't be taken lightly. But it's been really exciting and rewarding to be a part of and to see and observe the way we're all tackling this. We're just at a spot now where not everything's happening at the exact same pace or to everybody's desired pace, but we're all on a really good trajectory for success here.
Certainly an exciting time for the industry. Golden age is a great way to describe it, for sure.
Yes.
Golden age.
It seems so like old school, but it's true, right?
Absolutely. And that's a great note to end on. It's embracing the history, the tradition, and lessons we've learned as an industry while continuing to innovate and add in efficiencies going forward, so everyone wins.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the cool thing about this industry. It is so steeped in tradition and history and legacy. And, you hate the thought of just parking all of that and forgetting about it. But we have to be open to change at all stops in the process. And those that are willing to evolve and change and think about all of the same problems through a different lens and be open to that, the world is theirs to take, I think.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to share your perspective on agency and M&A, and appreciate your perspective on the golden age of insurance.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, Amber. Much appreciated.
Thanks, Chris.